Good afternoon. Last weekend I played in a over-the-board rapid play tournament and I promised some analysis from the game. Uh, Here is my game against the eventual winner of the tournament, Peter Badsteinvik. He's 1950 something rated at FIDE and I'm 1600 and something rated at FIDE. He's a very good player. Uh, Newly joined the club, journalist in a local newspaper. And he wins most of the games he plays at the club. But remarkably, for some reason, I have a good record against him. Let's see what happened when it really counted in the tournament, which was called the Varangslager. The place where I live is the Varanger Peninsula. I live on the south side, Sir Varanger, and it was players were invited from the south and the north side. And yeah, we had the tournament at the local high school, and yeah, it's a good weekend. So I've got the white pieces, and Peter's got the black pieces. So I played e4. I was really looking forward to playing a King's Gambit the last weekend, but nobody let me. So Peter, I remembered Peter was a Sicilian player. So he played Sicilian, and I played knight c3, and he plays knight f6, a normal open Sicilian. And I played c3. As I said to Peter afterwards, I like the delayed lapping because it gives your opponent the chance to play something inappropriate to the system. But he's a very good, theoretically solid player, and he didn't do anything like that. So he plays d5, which is probably the strongest defence against the delayed lapping, and is probably the reason why you don't often see the best players playing the delayed lapping, because d5 gives very good drawing opportunities, to say the least. So I take, he takes back with a queen. And now I thought this was the correct move. I thought this was theoretically. He said in theory, he says mainline theory is to play d4 straight away, but he can well believe this might be theory. I like the move anyway. I'm as well as threatening to come here with the bishop, come here with the knight, threatening, come here with the knight, threatening a fork. You know, I like it, but my main idea is to try and get the bishop pair, and he doesn't resist. He plays his bishop, and I play bishop here, and I've still got the threat of playing here and here for a fork. So he moves the queen first, and now I'll go from a real idea, which is play knight to c2 and then come knight to e3 and fork the queen and bishop. He plays e6 and I get my bishop pair, and I take the bishop pair, he takes back, and I play the d4 now, and there is no, from this position, there is no end game in which I can be worse. And so he goes back with his knight, it's misplaced. He might have productively developed his bishop, waited for me to chase his knight away, but he chooses to do it first. But I get to threaten his queen and knight at the same time. And if he moves his knight out of the way, I'm just going to play bishop here and pin the knight and double his pawns here and leave him with a poor pawn structure regardless. So he takes the knight, and I take with the pawn, giving me an advanced pawn on the e file, extra space. He combats it well with extra space with the move c4 himself. But he takes the queens, and now I'm very happy. I've got a nice position for my pieces. This pawn can be reasonably well defended, and yeah, I've got the bishop pair, so nothing to complain about. Of course, he threatens the pawn, and I defend it. I could have pinned this straight away, but then when he comes here and then comes here with these two pawns, what happens to that pawn then? So I just defend it straight up. He plays c4. And I play bishop to a4 to threaten to gang up on the knight. I'm not really going to have time to gang up on the knight because he's got time to play a6 and b5. But yeah, I'm threatening to do it. So I play bishop to e3, theoretically threatening to castle long and get another attacker on the knight. But actually, my plan is to go here or here with my king. So he plays bishop to b5, completes a little pawn chain, but he is kind of wide open on the queen side. I play bishop to c2 and he plays bishop to c5. Yeah, maybe could think about moving the bishop to preserve the bishop pair. It's not worth that. I'll play the endgame with knight against bishop against knight. I'm not worse anyway. So the king comes forward and he takes, and the king comes forward once more, and his king comes forward. No castling for either player here. And so, time to bring a rook to the central file? No. Instead, I attack the knight, the rook, so that I can then think about playing pawn here to break open the pawns on the structure on the queen side. I might get something else, but this is very, very drawish. So he plays rook to b8 to be out of the way of the bishop's attack, and to make it so that if I play here to get this pawn, then he will get this pawn. The whole kingside structure will dissolve, queenside structure will dissolve then. So I play b4 immediately, so that, you know, I am then threatening to play a4 and break up the structure without leaving a weakened backwards pawn. I do leave a weakened backwards pawn here, but I do have a good square to defend that we can get backwards pawn with. So he takes on, pass on, and I take. And now, you know, he plays knight to c5. So he's threatening to take my bishop and get rid of my bishop advantage. And I'd rather preserve that for the minute and preserve the pawn as well. The rook comes to b6, a good square to defend this pawn from. He can't defend it from a8 in the long term because I can chase the knight away and then come back to e4 with the bishop. And this is what I do. I chase the knight away and I come back to e4 with the bishop. Now I'm threatening to double and win this pawn here. And he comes to c8 and threatens my c pawn. And I defend it on an active square. I know it doesn't look tremendously active on a3, but it's attacking the a pawn, defending the c pawn. I'm happy with it. So he goes about trying to break down the kingside structure, and I'm happy with that. He takes with the knight, giving me 3 pawns against 2 with this one a bit separate, and he now has 1, 2, 3 pawn islands against my 2. So maybe my pawns are a little bit better in the endgame, but it's not worth writing home about. So I'm still keen to preserve the bishop. But now when he plays knight to d5 check, he's threatening the pawn here. If I come to here with the king, then he can play rook here, and I don't like the exposure. So I've no choice but to take the pawn. But you'll notice this leaves his pawn isolated. So these two cancel each other out as central pawns. This one really holds these two, and these 3 are against 2. Is this an endgame advantage? I don't think so. If we look at the analysis, 0.05, so it's 0.05 of an advantage to me. Nothing to write home about, but it's there. He has to keep watching what's going on. So I play king to a rook to e1, so that when the king moves, it's check. He moves his rook, so that he's threatening to double up on here, and I say check and defend the pawn at the same time. His king comes to d5, and I solidify my pawn chain. He comes to d5, and I'm not. He comes to e5 with the pawn, e4 with the pawn, and I'm not sure if it was here or the next game that I offered a draw. So it is completely drawn. It was my third game of the day, and I was really tired. Really tired. Hadn't slept much the night before. Really, really tired. But I just support this pawn so that when he takes this pawn, and I take back with my rook, this pawn isn't hanging. And he takes, and I take, and it was here I offered a draw. I think it is a draw. But he declines and comes forward with his king. Fair enough. Fair enough, It's, he's entitled to. He's 300 points higher rated than me. Of course he's going to try and win it. So I swap off, and he takes with a pawn. And when we analysed afterwards, he said he had not thought about the fact that I had the move c3, allowing me to check on d1. So still isn't a good, but it's gone up to more than half a pawn advantage now because of the more active positioning of my rooks. And now he plays pawn to a5, and I check him, and now you'll see that the analysis is 4 point because of the check forces his king away from defending this pawn, so I can take this pawn, threaten the rook, and then take this pawn and be a pawn up, and they're all on the same side, and my king is cutting off his king. So I take the pawn, and he attacks the pawn with the rook, and of course I defend with the pawn. He backs up, and I take the threaten the c pawn. He defends, and I take it anyway. And now he takes the pawn, and I thought a long time about this. I think I had about 12 minutes left at this point in time, and I tried to calculate what would happen if I took the rook and he took the rook, and I went after his pawns and he went after my pawns, and I wasn't sure, and I thought I'm going to have to calculate this step for step twice more now to know for sure, and I didn't have time to calculate it twice more. And as I said, I was very tired, so I thought, well, if I go after the pawn, I win a pawn anyway. I'm going to be playing 2 pawns against 1, and I'm not going to lose this game, is what I thought. And I played rook to c7, but the winning move, as you would have seen from the analysis, was to play king takes rook. Then he takes, and I thought, well, if I come here, he cuts me off with his king. I can't approach his pawns. And as I say, I hadn't calculated. I wasn't sure if I get my extra pawn away if we do this race. I would have done it as well. I seen that afterwards. But what I hadn't thought about was that even although he cuts my king off here, I can come here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and maybe even here, and then start pushing these pawns. And when his king has to move to react, I can take one of these 2 pawns. I didn't think about that. So I played rook to c7, and whoop, suddenly we're in a completely drawn position. Terrible miss, according to the computer. Looking at it in the cold light of day, yeah, it was a terrible miss. Had I played this in a 10-minute game on the internet, I'd have been disappointed with that miss. But the third game against such a high-rated player after such a long day, I'm not going to blame myself for not seeing that when I didn't see it. I didn't see the idea, but who with 12 minutes again calculates the idea of playing the king to h8, g8 or h8 to win the pawns. And besides, to do that calculation, I would have had to take my shoes and socks off, and it's always possible I had a hole in my sock as well. No, I'm kidding there, that's just a joke. But yeah, the game went on. I'll get rid of the analysis. It's a draw all the way here. And he techniques it out lovely. I'll just get rid of that. Delete that move. Yeah. And yeah. So I play here. He threatens my pawn. We trade prisoners. I say check. Get my rook in an ideal position. Threaten the pawn. Defend the pawn when he threatens my pawn. He comes out the way. I threaten the pawn from the other direction. King comes. His king comes. His pawn comes. I threaten the pawn. And he defends it. And my king comes. And he threatens the pawn. Don't have to take it just yet. If he takes, I'm going to take it with the king. And then I do have some chances. But obviously, not really. His king is in an ideal position. And his rook is also in a position to cut my rook off. And if I go forward to try and make progress, he's going to check me. Yeah, I can put the king in, I can put the rook in the way, but if I take it, it's, you know, it's not a winning endgame because I would be forced to take the opposition before the pawn gets to the 6th rank. If you can wait till the pawn gets to the 6th rank before taking the opposition, then you're going to win. Or if you can get the king advanced in front of the pawn, you're going to win. Neither of those two apply here. So I'm a pawn up. I'm entitled to play on a little bit, but you know, after a while, playing on is just being a bit of a yeah. It's unnecessary. So here, after I played b3, I suggested a draw. I think I've played on enough, and he's soon going to be getting a repeated position anyway. And so actually, getting a draw against a player, 300 players, 300 points higher rated than me, FIDE rated as well. I was very pleased with that. And Petter won the tournament. He won 6 games and drew only 1. So I was the only person who took any points from it. So I came fourth in the tournament. I lost my first game, which was quite embarrassing if you let things embarrass you. Almost asleep when I started the game actually, and put a piece on prise on my 4th move against the highest rated player in the tournament. Fantastic. And I won I lost the last game. I could have come 3rd place if I'd drawn or won the last game, and I decided to play for a draw in the last game. Very unlike me. It's not my style to play for a draw, and you know, I messed it up. So, but the player who came 3rd, he deserved it. I was very happy. I got the draw against the highest rated player. I was rated number 9 when I started the tournament. I finished number 4, and I certainly gained some rating points. But I've not played enough rapid games to get a FIDE rating yet. I don't get many opportunities to play rated chess up here in the middle of nowhere. And I can't really go through any of the other games because I could go through the embarrassing loss, but you know, enough is enough. But the other games, only the first 3 boards were shown on the DGT boards and sent to the internet, so I could copy them later. So this is going to be the only analysis from the tournament. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and don't be too disappointed about not spotting the win. And I think that's a bit of good advice for us all. None of us are professional chess players, you know. None of us are duty or honour bound to find the best move. If we find a good enough move, it's good enough. And getting a draw against a 300 point higher rated player is good. You've got to be happy with the little victories that you get, even if they come in the form of draws. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.